Hey everyone, welcome to From the Depths. I'm Minty, and this is episode 88 of the Battleship Brawl Season 4 tournament. St. Augustin, by Shieldmate, is continuing its way through, but we have our last new challenger. This is the final ship in the roster. This is the Liberty or Death by Rocky. She is armed with 6 dual-barrel cannons. It's a pretty nice looking superstructure here. It's a little bit small for the size of the ship. The deck is very flat, but it does have this sort of, I think it's supposed to be sort of like a digital camo paint? I'm not sure. I like it, it's just kind of odd, I don't know how to describe it. What's this? The USS Liberty, June 8th, 1967. Got the props mounted back here, which these are mounted as JVGs. Doesn't seem to have any just plain. Oh, here's some. There's some regular propellers. Those aren't JVGs. And I imagine, yep, JVGs up on the front too. It's got a wooden underside, which, just like me, is living a bit dangerously. Oh, that's engine exhaust. Yep. All right. The superstructure. I like the way it looks. My only thing is that it doesn't. It should be longer. You know, like it should extend out here further, closer to this gun. In my opinion, it just looks way too small. Way too small for the size of the ship that it's on. But it's a decent looking ship. Definitely better looking than mine. Mine's an ugly little thing. Well, it's not little, but you know what I mean. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this battle underway. See how the Liberty or Death performs against the St. Augustine's firing line. First it has to, rise up out of the depths. Gets itself 6 seconds of DQ time just by spawning in the way it does. Origin block somewhere towards the bottom of the ship could have help with that. Fear Death scoring some big hits early on. That's a lot of the St. Augustine's guns knocked out. So it comes down to whether the Liberty or Death can withstand the withering fire from the St. Augustine. Seems to be doing okay so far. Having those spread out guns will definitely help. They can't take a hit. Well, this gun lost a barrel, but these other two guns took some pretty close calls and seem to be doing just fine. Liberty or Death at 96%, St. Augustine at 99%. Looks like all those guns that were damaged before have been repaired. Liberty or Death really needs to keep that up, keep landing those big hits and taking out those guns. Make the ship spend resources repairing those expensive pieces while simultaneously reducing its fire rate, but currently it is not accomplishing that, and it is taking damage rather quickly. Oh, that rear gun has been disabled. Looks like one of the front ones here, some barrel damage. But holding up otherwise. Seems like it's got some pretty heavy armor beneath the deck as well. Focused around the turrets while the hull itself is pretty flimsy. Oh, that was pretty much a direct hit to that turret, and it is fine. It does not care. It is, the durability of the Liberty or Death's weapons is definitely helping out here. Except for this poor thing. It got blasted pretty hard. And the Augustin is actually out of materials to repair with. And it's not that far a difference of a match. If the Liberty or Death can continue landing those hits and disabling those guns, no, it has a chance here. It's only a barely 6.5% difference in HP right now, and the Liberty or Death still has materials to repair with. So if it needs to stop shooting at the church portions up top and land some hits to these guns. But this is actually a fight, folks. Just doing a weapons check here on the Liberty or Death. Oh, it looks like this front gun, it's still active, but it did take some barrel damage. Oh! Oh, that was a really lucky hit for that gun. If that shell had gone off there, if that had been a time after impact fuse, that gun would be disabled right now. Liberty or Death has closed the gap. It's almost under the 5% margin. It is bombarding the St. Augustin, which is having a much lower rate of fire than what we usually see from it, because a lot of its guns have been disabled and with no materials left to repair it. I mean, I guess it isn't a huge number of guns overall. Oh, actually it is. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably over a third of its armament, nearly half, has been disabled. And it is officially less than 5%. So if the Liberty or Death can keep holding on, keep absorbing the damage, it is gaining. It just needs to not lose any of its weapons. But it has a pretty paper hull. Yeah, it's made, like, the bottom is actually made out of downslopes. And it's only got wood on its hull, no, like, very little to no stone and metal. It does have some, but not much. But it has got some pretty well-defended turrets. And its guns are having no issue landing shots on the St. Augustin. Both vessels are out of materials to repair with, though, but it is a 1.5% match, folks. The St. Augustin is losing ground. It is getting pretty heavily blasted. Ooh, that was a big hit. That's another gun disabled. As long as the Liberty or Death can keep pouring on the damage, I think it could come out on top here. This is a really close match. It could go either way, but you know, compared to the other matches with the St. Augustin that were really one-sided, this is one heck of a fight. Yeah, the Liberty or Death really can't afford to keep missing, though. The St. Augustin actually gained a bit of a lead again, but it's not 5%. We are in draw territory still. Let's go check on the Liberty or Death. The important thing are those guns. If those are still active, oh, it looks like this one may have been disabled. I'm not sure. Oh, oof. Well, that did not go through. Oh yeah, it's been disabled. So that's probably a big factor. Oh, so is that one's been fully disabled as well. Though I think that one's been down for a while. I think the barrel damage may be coming into play here. Those rear guns have to fire much higher arcing shots, which means they miss more often and reduce the amount of damage that the Liberty or Death is able to pump out. And without its repairs, the Liberty or Death is being out DPS'd. It's still not 5% yet, but at this rate, there is a good chance that the St. Augustin will get that 5% gap that it needs in the next 3.5 minutes. That's 2.5% right now. What it really needs to do is land a couple of shells right in here in the middle of the ship and knock out those guns. If it did that, that would significantly reduce the Augustin's DPS. It needs to stop shooting at the bow and the stern. It's been doing that a lot. And just missing. Oh man, but this was a really good fight. It looks like the Augustin is going to pull it off, though. Barely. Barely. It did not get out of this one unscathed. And it was close enough that round 2 could go either way. I mean, this round isn't over yet, but it's not looking good for the Liberty or Death. Looking very good for the Augustin. Or Death, if it had kept targeting the Augustin's guns and not done all of this useless damage. Well, it's not useless, but ineffective damage. Like, this is all this damage here and along the back, and you know, in the church and all that. You know, over here, like, that's all ineffective. That doesn't affect the Augustin's ability to fight much at all. Oof. The Liberty or Death is looking a bit Swiss cheesed. Like, there are so many holes all over this thing. You should not be able to see that much ocean through the top of a ship. Like, that's a bit brutal. Though probably does help with the Augustin's, you know, survivability, because like that shell just passed straight through without detonating. Probably didn't even hit any blocks. See, there's some more over penetrations. But the Augustin does have a 10% lead, and it may even be able to 2 damaged the Liberty or Death before this is over. It's still a very interesting fight, though. I'm eager to see round 2, see how it goes. Because I feel like the Liberty or Death only lost because of the RNG target selection of its AI. I feel like it was doing very well until the Augustin managed to take out its guns, which took quite a lot of time. Oh. Oh, what? Oh, it got severed in half, I think. Yeah, because the 2 damage counter is still going down. The front half of the ship got completely severed. And that's 2 damaged. Wow. Broke the back of the Liberty or Death. Oh, and that's also time. Alright, so the Augustin takes it in round 1. But it was quite a fight. Let's see how round 2 goes. Get the camera into position here. Ah, there it is. And then there we go. Who fires first? I don't remember. Liberty or Death firing first. Most of its cannons heading for the bow, but a couple of them hitting into the middle. pretty hefty hits, knocking down the Augustin by 1.5% in the first volley. But the Augustin answers by knocking the Liberty or Death down by 2.5. Uh-oh. This gun is done. It's been disabled. It took too many hits. And with the Augustin's fire rate, there's no way it's going to get a chance to repair those. The hull is never going to get built up enough to where the guns will get repaired. Losing that gun early on is terrible, and there we go, more shots ineffectively hitting the stern of the Augustin. Gotta take out those guns, Liberty or Death. That's like your only chance. Come on, show us round 1 wasn't a fluke. Or prove that it was. Either way. Oh, that's a good shot. That landed right in the... Oh, wait, that didn't... Oh, it got one gun. That's... Not as much as I was expecting when I saw where that hit, but Augustin's guns are not all that easy to take out. Not only are they difficult targets to actually hit, but they've got pretty decent armor, is what I was gonna say, and then I just kind of blanked there for a second. That's a big hole blasted in the Augustin there. Oh, it's actually a closer match this time, though. Not as much of a separation in hit points. That gun is still disabled. This gun has lost a barrel. This one has barrel damage. That's the thing, like the Augustin throws out so many shells that it's eventually going to hit something critical. It's going to find a weak spot. It will knock you out. You have to reduce that firepower as quickly as you can. The Augustin is out of materials, and it's pretty much a tied match. Both of these ships are just filling the air with projectiles, blasting one another. The Augustin is actually behind by almost 2%. It has lost quite a few guns. Not that many, though. I think it lost more last time. Did see some over-penetrations going on when we were last at the Liberty or Death. Maybe it's having issues with that. Its shells are just going through. Augustin's actually behind almost by a full 5%. Liberty or Death. Oh yeah, see those plunging fire shots are going in through the deck and just going out through the bottom of the ship, doing basically nothing. Knocks out like 2 blocks. That is an interesting armoring concept. Stay at range, make the shells come in through the deck and just go through without doing anything if they don't have a time after impact fuse. Well, Liberty or Death actually has the 5% lead it needs to win. It is slowly winning more and more by health. It still has quite a few guns left, though. But those guns are seeming rather ineffective this round. They just aren't doing anything. It definitely has lost more guns this time, though. Oh, and there's some more getting blasted by that hit. Oh, that thing's still alive? I would have thought that gun would have died from that hit, but know, so be it. FTD's weird. The Augustin behind by almost, nope, now a full 10%. A lot of the Augustin shells are being rendered ineffective. Either missing or just over-penetrating without detonating. Oh, that one managed to get a detonation off in the middle there. This would probably be a completely... See, there's two more over-penetrations. That one actually detonated. But this would probably be an entirely different ballgame if the Augustin had time after impact fuses. So then those shells, they may not do a whole lot of damage, but at least they wouldn't just over-penetrate. Liberty or Death's moving in for the kill. I don't know if that's the greatest idea. I mean, you were winning the fight where you were. Why, you know, why change that? Now your rear guns aren't able to fire. You're cutting out a good chunk of your own DPS. Yeah, those plunging fire shells on the Augustin are doing pretty much nothing. They just go straight through. I think the Augustin might be... It could be dead in the water. Yeah, see, it's trying to turn, but it can't. It cannot turn. It has no engine power left. So the smart thing to do at this point would be to get out from underneath the guns. Outmaneuver it. Get off to the side. Don't stay within the firing arc when the thing can't move to keep you there. Oh, there are those rear guns getting back into the mix. Oh, that one just took a hit. I don't know if it's still going to be active after that. Nope, doesn't look like it. The other ones are, though. St. Augustin, whatever, has taken quite the beating. I don't know that any of its guns are able to fire anymore. They don't... I think she's been disabled. She's dead in the water, no guns. I think the Liberty or Death is secure to win here. What a sleeper entry, huh? Came out of nowhere. Very last one on the list. Definitely a strong combatant. Oh, this, like, church thing is barely being held up anymore. So Augustin did manage to get one shell off there after a very long time, and it didn't have the range. And there we go. The Augustin is too damaged. Has been destroyed by the Liberty or Death. So we are going to round 3, folks. Since it is a draw going into round 3, the 5% rule does not apply. Whoever has the most HP when this battle is over will be the winner. And the Augustin barely won round 1. Liberty or Death won round 2 pretty handily. So, I guess we'll see. Liberty or Death is doing pretty well against this ship, though. And I think part of it is that they start out broadsiding in the same direction, so the Liberty or Death has to accelerate and turn before, the Augustin has to accelerate and turn before it can bring its guns to bear, which actually delay it from firing its first volley a little bit. Well, that's probably not a huge deal. I'm sure every little bit counts when ships are this closely matched. The Augustin burning through those materials. So many of those shells just missing. I bet you. No, it doesn't look like we had any over penetrations. They're too close. The angle isn't steep enough. Plus, there are too many blocks still. Did that shell just bounce off the wooden deck? I think it did. That's pretty funny. Oh, that is an over penetration. Oh, but the Augustin is much, much higher up. Oh, this rear turret got taken down as well. Unlike round 2, this is looking a bit more like round 1 so far. With the health totals, the Augustin actually already has a 5% lead. And the thing is, folks, this is for the Augustin to enter the Hall of Champions. Like, it gets this as its 5th win. It will retire as a champion. So this is, this is an important match for the Augustin. So it going to round 3 is not what the Augustin wanted to see happen. The Liberty or Death's guns seem pretty potent too. Twelve guns isn't a terribly large number. Especially not in the face of the Augustin's, just barrage. The Liberty or Death's weapons are still surviving, which is, the important thing here. Or maybe I spoke too soon. That one was already disabled, but this one's taking some damage. Still active, though. Still active, just not looking so good. Ooh, may have actually lost some blocks. The back there is blown open a bit. Oh, but the HP gap has been closed. The Augustin has taken some hefty damage as well. Augustin losing a gun there. We saw that shell go right in. That's probably another gun down. Yep. You gotta kick it up. You gotta knock out those turrets on the Liberty or Death if you want to be a champion, Augustin. And Liberty or Death, if you want this win, you gotta, basically do the same. Stop shooting these inflatable turrets in the bow and stern and whatnot. Take out those guns. The Augustin does have a 6% lead right now. Oof. Huh? That shell definitely took my words to heart. But at this range, they are really far. I have a feeling it's probably starting to have that over-penetration problem again. And look at all these shells that are just ineffective, just falling into the water, doing nothing. That is a lot of wasted firepower. But at the same time, the rear armament of the Liberty or Death has taken quite the beating. There's only one active barrel left back here, it looks like. Yeah, only the one. Augustin at 87%, Liberty or Death at 81.8, basically 82. Very close, just outside 5%. Not that, you know, 5% rule matters this time, but both ships are out of materials to repair with. So it's a matter of whether the Liberty or Death can knock out enough of those guns fast enough to keep from being destroyed itself. Augustin seems to be having a little bit of issues with maneuvering. Oh, it lost its JBGs there in the front. It is not able to turn like it's supposed to. Right now, it's not even trying to. Or maybe it is, and these are not meant to be firing, or not meant to be on right now with the AI. But those JBGs being gone in the front, that's a lot of turning force gone. And when you're a mono broadsider, losing maneuverability is bad, bad news. So yeah, if the Liberty or Death keeps on this course, and the Augustin isn't able to... Oh, the Augustin's actually getting DQ time! I just noticed that! It's at 50 seconds of DQ time because it's not able to maintain itself. Oh, man! The Augustin's gonna lose! Unless... Oh, no! No! There it goes! Kaboom! Disqualified, because the Liberty or Death was moving towards its opponent, while the Augustin was basically pushing itself out of bounds continually with its recoil. And since it didn't have any JBGs to steer or maneuver properly, it got disqualified. The Liberty or Death is the victor, shutting down the St. Augustine's win streak. So yeah, that was one hell of a battle, folks. That was... I didn't even notice the DQ time until it was almost over. Anyway, make sure you check out the Hall of Beauty votes down in the descriptions. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the battlefield.